what's up, guys? My name is Carlos.
My name is Zav.
And welcome to our YouTube channel, which is called Real Talk with God. This is episode 2, and today's topic is about pornography.
So, the main thing that is really hard to talk about, and it was really hard to even consider, but to even start it off in the second one, it was about pornography. It was something that brought into it, our hearts to even talk about. And we were debating about it, if we should talk about it, and we decided that we should. The reason why is because it's something that's really easy and accessible
Yep.
for many of the youth. And it's something that's been affecting most of them in a sense where they don't even realize it. So we want to talk about our experiences and also ways to even benefit your guys' lives and to fight through that temptation.
Yep.
So we first want to start off with this one verse from 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 12.
And it goes like, I have the right to do anything you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by anything.
Clearly how it said that we're able to do anything that we want because of the free will that God gave us. But not everything that we do is going to benefit our own bodies, and it's not going to benefit our own lives.
Yep, that's true.
And in the verse, it talks about clearly that not anything will take me over, will master me. So let's start off by talking about it, how everything started. In a sense, it might feel a little uncomfortable, but it's something that needs to be said.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about how when I was in 6th grade, and this is how the start of everything started, everything. I was in 6th grade, people would have mentioned and talk about it a lot. And there's a couple things that I know, I didn't realize, but I was introduced to it by pictures. By pictures. Yeah, woo, pictures. But those pictures opened my mind into a curiosity about it. And one thing led to another, where my body started feeling this tension, this new feeling. I was 11 or 12 at the time.
Okay.
And it was really hard for me because when I was alone, I would want to see that again. I would want to find a way so I can access that again. So we had a couple VHS tapes where there were some movies that showed a couple of that stuff.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
So when it showed that stuff, I would put it on in secret. I'll hide from my parents and everything, and I would watch them. And it was something that opened my first mindset towards that, where it was something that made me feel pleasant, but it was only for a couple seconds. How you said. And that was my experience of how I got introduced to that. How it was not only through friends, but it was also through just little simple steps where I pushed myself to find that again.
Yeah, I could say the same, just like you. For me, I was down in Mex. It wasn't like an Oxxo, and we're just right there to buy chips, some drinks, and all that. And it was a graphic novel actually that I saw in the peripheral of my vision, and I'm like, oh, looks colorful. And was curiosity, I went, opened it, and there was some stuff that me around 11, 12 should not have seen, and that was the start of it as well. Pictures throughout, and that sense that you said, that tension that you felt, it came back the following days, and I started searching because I wanted to feel that way, which that became an addiction towards the end.
And even back then, it was something that was kind of easy to access.
Yeah. So
when it led to that, for me, it was more where I started noticing changes in my lifestyle. So in 7th grade, I got introduced to my first phone. It was an LG. It was the little phones from Boost.
He's old.
You're older too. Wait until he tells you his. But so I had my phone and I saw that everybody would download these apps when it barely started popping up. So I would always hang out with my friends, and then after with my friends, like I would head home, and I was kind of bored. I was bored with my phone, but my friends would tell me, they would kick me because it was a kick, the app kick.
Oh.
So we would text each other through there and everything.
Wow.
Oh, like, oh, check out this video, check out this and that, and that's where we started sending each other videos of certain things. So when that came, it was more easier to access stuff where it led to porn. When it led to porn, it was a sense where I started feeling that tension more and more. So for a while, throughout my first year of 7th grade, it was kind of difficult for me to see girls the way I used to now. So I always respect, and I still do, I always respect girls in every way, in every matter. It was just that one time where I got addicted to it and I started objectifying. Where the word objectifying in a sense where I would see a girl and I could already picture it. Oh, probably like this, oh, I would do this, and oh, like that.
Wow.
And it was difficult for me, bro. It was really difficult for me because it got me thinking when I got my first ever girlfriend, my first relationship. It was difficult for me because I had a mindset like I thought that I could live without it. Yeah, well, that's fine. But it opened my eyes to when I had my first relationship into other stuff that I shouldn't have experienced. It was really difficult, and I started noticing where my mind started opening to more things where, oh, like oh, this and that, like, oh, girls, this and that, right? I started to not do things that I used to do. Started being isolated by myself to that. Started showing up late to stuff. Started finding excuses to not go out. And it was just something that was a problem. It was a really big problem. So after the relationship ended and everything, started noticing a lot of things where I was doing wrong. So I did the bold thing and I spoke to one of my youth pastors at the time. And I asked him for help, and I was ashamed about it. I told him like, oh, like I feel this feeling, and I don't want to feel like that anymore. I want to go back to being the person that would respect girls in every way, without visualizing girls in that way. So I got the help that I needed, and he pushed my limit into a sense where one time he told me to almost break my phone.
Damn.
Yeah, he said, he told me this verse where if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. If your eye causes you to sin, take it off. I didn't mean maybe like, but it was more like he told me, put the phone, okay, break it. What? I looked at him like, my phone? He's like, yeah, break it. So I was like, dang it, okay. So that's when he gave me a hammer.
Oh, you broke it for real?
No, I didn't break it. I was gonna, because I knew it was something that I needed to like get rid of. Later on, I could have bought myself a new phone, but I was like, dang it. It was an LG, bro. No, it was a Samsung. It was a Samsung Galaxy. So I was gonna break it, and when I was about to break it, he told me, stop. I'm like, it felt like Abraham and Isaac, but he told me stop. He was like, I was like, okay. I did hit the phone, and it was chipped on the side, but he told me, okay, you realize what you just did? I was like, yeah, I was gonna break my phone. It's like, you're actually putting up the fight for yourself to get rid of that. So now that you see that, you need to limit yourself to some boundaries. I was like, okay, my boundaries, okay. So my boundaries were leaving my phone in the kitchen, or leaving it like on the far end of the bed, and run to my bed and just lay down. Because when you feel comfortable in bed and everything, you don't want to move or nothing, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I did that, and it helped me a lot. It was a big struggle for me, because like there was times that I would go back to it, but that helped me learn a lot, and it helped me a lot when I got closer to God. Because when I got closer to God, I knew I was doing something wrong. I knew that, like, man, I am doing something wrong, like something that's not normal. And I felt this guilt, that thing, and like, I did it again. God, I'm sorry. Can you help me out? And he also told me this other thing from my old youth pastor. He told me this thing. He was like, whenever you feel like you're tempted, yell out Jesus. Why? Because when you yell out Jesus, you're gonna be thrown off, but you're also gonna feel, you're gonna let God handle the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing that, and after I started doing that for a while, it stopped. And then I got into my second relationship, and I started noticing that a part of me still saw the parts where I was objectifying.
Oh, okay.
So stuff happened, and after that, well, I couldn't be like that anymore. I was in a rough edge. So after that rough edge, I just knew that it wasn't the right thing to do. So I took myself some time and to ask God to forgive me and to also help me out with that, because it is a big struggle to even talk about it right now, because it was just a big problem for me, and I was more worried about what people were gonna say. But someone told me that you shouldn't worry what people are gonna say, because they are probably going through the same thing.
Yeah, true. Wow, crazy.
So it was from that moment on, after the second relationship, like after I broke up and everything, it was when it stopped. It stopped because I felt this guilt in me that I thought it was just gonna repeat. But then I felt this guilt and I asked God, and that's when I got closer more with God. Because it might seem like it's not gonna hurt you mentally, or if it's not gonna hurt you physically, but it really does. It affects your way of thinking and affects the way of things that you do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, for me, to be honest, well, before I get to say what I have to say, I just want to point out that one of the biggest lies that is told in ourselves is that when we get a girlfriend, when we get a wife, one of those two, that addiction is gonna stop. That is false. Okay, that's not true. The addiction still stays there, and it's gonna ruin your relationship with your girlfriend and wife. To be honest, that could lead to breakups or even worse, divorce. So you gotta be careful. Be careful with it. If you're going through that addiction and you're in a relationship, I would suggest break it off, get rid of the addiction, and then you're ready for the next step of being in a relationship with someone, because it's gonna be bad for your life and your relationship. And talk about relationships, the biggest lie and all that. For me, the way that I got help was I went to my youth pastor, and I went to him and I told him I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed, and I told him, hey, you know what? Can I talk to you on the side? He's like, yeah, for sure. And you know what? I'm going through this problem. And he says, okay, tell me about it. And you know what? I'm watching porn and all that. And he's all like, oh, okay. And then I really want to get out. I want this addiction to be out of my body, out of my system, because I don't like it. Every single time that urge comes in and I do the action, I feel such a big guilt inside of me that is so horrible. And I feel horrible after it. And then he told me, okay. He's like, we're going to do a, what's it called? Accountability. But he said the buddy system in that manner. And he told me, every time you have the urge to do that action, I want you to text me, call me, or send me a voice message, so I can respond to you and you feel that there's someone with you fighting next to you and you don't feel alone. Because if you feel alone, you feel like you can do it by yourself. But once you're with someone else, then you feel like you're not fighting alone and you're fighting with someone, and that someone's gonna push you to do better. And yeah, that's how it was for, I would say, years. Even still, I still use the buddy system with now I use it with Zab, but back then was with my pastor. You know, and it's just healthy, because every time that urge comes, I text him, call him, and he calls back. It could be a minute or two, doesn't matter, but he calls me and he's not like, hey, what happened? And I tell him and he prays over me. And if you're struggling with pornography and you want to do the buddy system, I would suggest to be someone that goes to church.
Someone that goes to church, because if it's not, then they're gonna give you the worldly advice instead of what it talks about in the Bible, like how you should sharpen each other. You know, like.
And it has to be someone that you feel has a strong faith in God. It can be just anyone random or your friend that you talk to a lot in church. It has to be someone that is strong in the faith, so you feel that there is someone fighting next to you, and you don't feel that it's not, how can I put it in a nice way? It's not you yourself. So I would suggest for you guys to do that. You know, find someone who's strong in the faith.
Yeah, like having a buddy is gonna help you a lot when you're just alone and just like, well, because like in these types of spiritual battles, I'm gonna say, in these type of spiritual battles, is you need someone to help you out, because if you don't, you're just gonna fall. Like if you fall by yourself, no one's gonna be there to help you out. So it's like you want that person to be there. Like God, of course, is gonna be there to help you out, but like right now, like physically and everything, you need someone that you can call real quick, someone that is gonna answer, someone that's gonna try to contact you back. Hey, what happened? Are you good? Like, is everything okay? And just tell them like, oh, well, you know what? I've been struggling with this, and I feel like I'm tempted to do this. Can we talk for a little bit? And a thing that works is also changing your environment, huh?
Yeah.
So Carlos talks about a lot about changing your environment.
So what I mean by that is that, let's say you're in your house, right? You're in your house and you feel that urge. If that urge comes in your room and you know what, I gotta get out of here. Okay, go to the living room. If you still feel that urge, go outside. If you still feel that urge because you're right next to your comfort zone, which is your home, take the car, go somewhere, or start walking, go to the park. You know, do something active that's gonna keep your mind away from it, so you don't think about it. And that's it's gonna be hard. I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be hard to do that, because when you're addicted to it, you get very lazy. And sometimes you don't want to do it, but it's like you have to do it if you want that addiction to be over and done with you. You can't expect the process if you don't put in the work. It's kind of like working out. Yeah.
But it's the same thing as with the problem with pornography. Like if you want that change to go away, you want that temptation, that addiction to go away, you need to put in the work for it and realize it by yourself. Yep. What's going on? How is this even benefiting me? How is this causing me to feel to do better in my life? Like in my spiritual walk, how is that helping me? That's a big question that you should ask yourself. How is it helping me in my spiritual walk?
That's good. Yeah.
It's making you lazy, how you said, like it makes you really lazy. It makes you not think straight. And like how I said before, it makes you idolize a woman when you shouldn't. It makes you have these dirty thoughts in your mind. There's a verse on the 1 Corinthians. So there's Carlos is gonna read it. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse.
Is it 15?
It's.
Or.
Okay, yeah. So it's gonna wait.
Few moments later.
Okay, my bad. So yeah, it was 1 Corinthians. Yeah, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 15.
15?
Yeah.
Yep. Verse 15. Okay. So it goes like this. Do you not know that your bodies are members of Christ himself? Shall I then take the members of Christ and unite them with a prostitute? Never. Do you not know that he who unites himself with a prostitute is one with her body? For it is said, the two will become one flesh, but whoever is united with the Lord is one with him in spirit.
Okay, so going back, like with the whole prostitute stuff, right? It's the same thing how pornography works. When you visualize it in your mind, like there's this thing like, oh, I can already visualize myself already having sex with that person, right? You already did it because you already visualized it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the prostitute, because when you go into porn and you're visualizing that in your mind, you already picture yourself having that pleasure with that person.
Yeah.
So it's like some of the pornography now, people pay for that.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as prostitution. Like, you're going and seeking that, and that's not something that God wants. That's something that God very clearly said right there, that that's not something that you're supposed to be doing.
No.
So, and because we are the temple of God. We are the temple of God, and we're supposed to feed good stuff into ourselves, not negative stuff, not bad stuff where it's gonna cause us to feel worse. Like, so it's a process of it, because once you already do it and everything, it's like it gets attached to your mind. And how I said, like, you become one. So part of you is already with that other person, or with that, just because of that. Your part of you is already with that. But there's a way you can get it back, and the way you can get it back is by including God in it. Yeah. God is going to guide you through it to get that part of you back, or to fill that part of you back.
Yeah. I also want to add that if you think about it in another type of way, it's like you're being a selfish person. And what I mean by that is that you are, how can I put it? You're being so selfish that when an action comes between you or yourself and you do that, you're just thinking of yourself, and it's all about me. And that pleasure that you feel, you just keep bringing it to yourself. But when the time comes when you have your wife and all, and there's that pleasure that, you know, in the marriage has, that you're not going to feel it. And you're gonna tell yourself, oh, why am I not feeling the pleasure that I feel when I do it with myself? That's because you're being a selfish person, and you're not letting that pleasure be with another person, which is your wife, which God wants it to be with your wife and not with yourself.
It's a selfish act.
Selfish act. Very selfish.
Clear as it is a selfish act, because and it affects a lot of marriages, including like
yes,
like there's even people that some of them aren't even Christian, and they visualize that too. Like how me and you talked about it, how it's Chris Rock, that he said that it affected his marriage a lot. And then there was Terry Crews, how he said that it affected his marriage, but he sought help, and it helped him a lot to get his marriage back in order.
Yep.
So it's not, it's a big problem that people don't want to like worry about it too much, because it's pleasant to you.
No, and as well nowadays, because they normalized it in some ways, many people think that it's just a small thing. They don't think about it as a big factor for your future as well.
Like how we talked about it a long time ago, how it's not how we talked about it, like how we visualized it as like people seeing it as a phase in your life. But it's not a phase.
Nope.
Because it's something that right now is normalized all around. So like that's something that most people don't like to talk about, because
and it's crazy, right?
It's crazy because most of them see it as a way of
escape,
and to release certain type of stuff. So it's really difficult, bro. Because
you know what? Something else. Many people go to that because they're depressed, they get anxiety, or whatever, that the day when they went to work or they went to get groceries or whatever wasn't going how they wanted to go. It wasn't a bright sunny day by all means, and He's like, oh, some shitty person just messed up my whole day, and they want to release. There's so many excuses that many people use just to do it, which is like, wow. Like, there's so many excuses, to be honest. There's so many excuses that are used nowadays that because it's so normalized, other people feel like, oh, it's because of this happened. Oh, it's because of that happened. Oh, it's because his day was so badly that he wants to just release it. You're like, no. That's bad. That's horrible. That's how you get even way more addicted to it, because you put even more excuses to it. It's a horrible thing. You're not supposed to do it. No, you're not. It's bad. It's wrong.
Well, sadly, it's normalized, even in cartoons and stuff like that. Like,
oh, yeah.
They normalize it. So
it's crazy.
They see it as, if it's not an issue, they only see it as like, it's whatever. They're like, there's some people that are like, it's whatever, it's gonna happen, whatever. So it's hard, it's a really hard thing to even think about. But let's talk about the way of how we can even get rid of it, though. Go to the verse in 1 Corinthians. It talks about it. So it says this. It says, flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. Do you not know that your bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God, whom you have not your own, because you were bought at a price? Therefore honor God with your bodies. So flee from the temptation, as we talked about, how you need a partner, like a buddy, that can help you guide you through that. There's another verse in the Bible where it says, if it causes you to sin, how I mentioned before, as it causes you to sin, cut your arm off. If it causes you to sin, if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. Doesn't mean literally, but it means like in a mortal way, where if this device, like a phone, is causing you to sin, put it to the side or give it to someone so they can take care of it. Like, I'm gonna say at night, because mostly it happens at night when people do that. Put it to the side. If you know you're gonna be tempted, put it to the side. If you know this by you watching that, it's gonna cause you to do that, because there's movies that people see and it causes them to that. Avoid it. Click it out. Watch something else. Do something else. Even as a Christian, we shouldn't be watching all that stuff. So it's avoid it by running away, fleeing from it. Because if you don't flee from it, you're just expecting it to happen. So let's learn to run away when something is, when there's like a big Amber Alert clearly saying something's gonna happen, or like it's around the area. So
wow.
an Amber Alert says it is around the area. So how about just turn on the Amber Alert, or expect that Amber Alert when it's about to happen, because it's in your area. So make sure you're out of that area, or in that environment, or that certain thing is out of your area. Like how we mentioned before, you have the right to do anything, but you are not controlled by those things. God gave us the ability to have free will, but it just depends if we're willing to do the right thing or do the bad thing. So if you're willing to get rid of this temptation, willing to get rid of these feelings, because it's going to be a tough battle for you, but you need to start by opening up. If you don't open up to that person, or like that person that's willing to help you, don't expect to change, because you're not reaching out. It's kind of harsh saying it like that, but it's the honest truth.
Yes, it's the truth about it.
It's the truth about it. Don't expect your life to improve if you're not seeking that help. If you're not seeking that true mental help that you need, and that true physical help that you need, and also your spiritual help, especially your spiritual help. Walk by faith, not by the world.
By the world. Yeah, that's true. So just to tell you guys, like just so in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, that you have the right to do anything, but not everything to be beneficial. So you have you yourself, that God gave you free will. You have the right to do anything you want, but just remember that not everything that you do is gonna benefit you and the path that you have with God. I was like, not everything in life will treat you well, or because something's gonna treat you bad as well. So you just gotta be careful in choosing the right things as well, doing the right things as well. You know, and if you mess up, I mean, you mess up. It's all right. You know, it happens. You know, just if you need help, seek for it. You know, just like how at night you pray and all that. You know, you still gotta put the effort on it, and you still gotta find those people that are willing to help you, and you gotta be 100% honest with them. Every single time that you are having that urge, you know, to see porn and all that, you know, text them. Even if it's in the middle of the night, they are willing to be there for you day and night, because they want you to be better and do better for Jesus Christ. You know, just keep that in mind. If they truly are your friends and they truly love God and all that, they're gonna be there for you no matter what, through thick and stone. But you also have to be the one that seeks it and tells them the truth. Because, you know, you could lie. You know, Christians lie. You could lie to yourself. You could lie to them.
Yeah, we're human. And being a Christian doesn't mean that you're not going to lie.
Oh, no.
On the contrary, most people, I'm going to be straight up about it. Most of the people that struggle with pornography are the ones that go to church.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's been proven in, like, statistics.
Yeah, so many stats are there.
Because it's a struggle. But most of them don't speak up.
Nope.
But the ones that do speak up are the ones living through their life and, like, not worrying about that. Like, not worrying about falling back. Because you have someone that's helping you during those times that you feel like you're going to fall back.
Yeah.
But it's like how I said, like, if you want your spiritual walk to be a spiritual walk, you need to speak up, and you need to find someone at the church that's going to guide you through that.
Yeah. Yes, that is true.
We're running out of time, but we want to close it with that. It was a really hard topic to talk about, mostly because it's the reality of it. More youth, 100% of the youth have access to it, so it's something that we just want to reach out. Where it's a struggle. It's a struggle even for someone that didn't experience that. But how to say, like, that didn't experience it, like, with friends telling you, by you finding out by yourself.
Oh, okay.
Especially now, because it's everywhere, like in movies and on an app or something.
It's everywhere.
It causes a lot of curiousness. So just be careful. Like even for parents, like, directly, just be careful with
where you let
your son and daughter, like, watch, because it's legit is really included in most apps, and it's included in a lot of stuff. It's promoted everywhere. Anywhere you go, it's promoted everywhere. Sadly, the truth about it is promoted everywhere.
It's like there's a quote that says, curiosity could be the best thing, but also could be the worst thing.
Yeah, and most youth right now, like teens and everything, they're curious. We're curious about everything.
Yeah. And
that can lead to something else.
So we gotta be careful with it, you know, and speak up. Please speak up, you know, because it's something that you do not want it to follow you throughout your years. You don't want to get rid of it, like, stop completely. Please. And like Zab said, you know, this topic was really hard, and we were waiting for a confirmation, you know, and we were debating to talk about it or not, and out of nowhere, God tells us you have to, and that's where right here we're talking about it, and hopefully what we're saying and what we talked, you know, reaches out to all of you guys, and for you to seek help over it, and, you know, to do better for you and to be in that best path that could take you to God.
to focus on your spiritual walk.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're gonna close it right there. It was a really good episode.
Yeah.
So how I said, we're gonna try to release one episode a week, but there's a big list that we have coming.
Yeah, big one.
And we're excited to even talk about them. So there might be 2 episodes in the next week. There might be. So
for everybody, guys.
For everybody. So we're gonna leave you guys off and hope that you guys have a good evening, good morning, good evening, good night, and stay blessed. And we'll see you guys on episode 3. Peace.